Well, guess what, guys? Horikoshi actually did something fucking crazy this chapter, and I think a lot of people didn't even realize. And what am I referring to? I am referring to how he actually wrote Eri's trauma in chapter 170. And I did deliberately leave this out of my review because I wanted to make a video separate to my review where I would talk about Eri's trauma. Now, if you don't know what I'm referring to in this chapter, I'm referring to the point when Eri, well, actually it's a few points in the chapter, one of them being when Eri was questioning, how do I smile again? That's one of the key things. However, the really big panel, that got people that actually noticed this just jump out of their chair was when we saw this panel of Eri and Overhaul where it says, this child still hasn't been saved at all. And it just goes to show you that Horikoshi doesn't forget. He understands that no one in Eri's situation would just be fine after being saved. It takes a lot more getting used to society as it should be, because she's been trapped with Overhaul, she's been forced to live with Overhaul and endure his experiments for who the hell knows how long. And in most writers' cases, after being rescued in a situation like this, they would kinda just forget about the trauma, they would just act as if they were fine. But Horikoshi, he did his right. He actually made sure that the trauma is still there. He made sure that Eri is not anywhere near being completely healed from what's been going on in her life. And obviously her being part of the festival, as we know she's going to be part of the festival in this upcoming arc, that will mostly serve as a way to try and heal her, as we know. But what I would like to talk about in this video is just the fact that Horikoshi handled her trauma so perfectly, because you just don't heal over, a week or a month. It takes a lot longer. It could take a lifetime to recover from something like this. When she's been forced to be with Overhaul, like I said, she's been enduring his experiments. I think Overhaul even boasted about actually deconstructing Eri and putting her back together, and I don't even want to know what that experience feels like. That is going to be something that just stays with you for the rest of your life. Even if you end up recovering to some extent, you're just not going to recover completely. You're always going to remember those times in your life. I mean, sure, you can probably suppress or repress those memories, but at the end of the day, it still happened, and there are still ways to trigger these memories. They're not gonna be gone forever. And this is one of the reasons why I want Eri to be part of the story for an extended period of time. I want to see her recovery on screen. I don't really want most of it to be off screen, and I think it's going to be a lot focused on Eri, given how both Togata and Eri seems to be part of the festival. Not really a surprise. I mean, Togata is still part of the school, even if he's under suspension, meaning he's not really gonna take part of any classes or any activities per se, but he will still be able to be at the festival. He'll probably be taking care of Eri. As we know, he did say that in the latest chapter, that he actually has the time to be able to take care of Eri full time now that he's under suspension. Recently in the past, we did see how he even wrote Night Eye's death so perfectly. I don't really think there would have been a better way to write off Night Eye as a character, and seeing this trauma being written to an equal quality of that's just something that tells me that Horikoshi's writing, it is very consistent when it comes to its quality. And I really hope it stays that way all the way through, until the very end of this series, because as it is right now, My Hero Academia, it's going to completely blow everyone away, especially when it gets animated, because we know, compared to manga readers and anime watchers, the anime watchers are probably the majority, at least in the West or whatever. I don't really know, but I dare say that most people don't read the manga. But when this part of the manga actually gets animated and everyone gets to know about it, I think it's going to make My Hero Academia as a series just explode to an unimaginable level. So going back to Eri though, because she is without question, one of the best written characters in My Hero Academia to date. I don't think anyone can really disagree with that, because although she's not really, you know, a fighter, she's not a hero, she's not a villain, she's actually a victim, if anything, a child victim. But she's written in such a way that you can't really dislike her character. It's not really possible. I mean, she's probably not gonna be everybody's favorite character, that's not what I'm saying, but she is without question one of the best written ones, meaning that, you know, if this keeps going, you know, as it has been right now, her writing, she could easily end up on a lot of people's favorite character list. She's already on my top 10, not quite top 5, but top 10 easily, in my opinion. And the way her trauma was written, it just adds to that. It makes her character so much better, because she's not just completely gonna forget about the whole overhaul incident. Because if she did forget about the whole overhaul thing, I think that actually completely ruined her character, because that would kind of make the whole overhaul arc pointless when it comes to Eri, meaning that, you know, at the end of the day, Togata, while it is true that he still saved her, him losing his quirk would have a much lower impact when you look back at it after the fact. What I am curious to see, however, is exactly how they are going to mend her trauma, you know, in the long run. You know, if you look far into the future of My Hero Academia, how is Eri's trauma going to completely heal, or heal as much as possible, should we say? Because as I said, it's not going to heal completely. She's always going to remember this time of her life. It's not something you can really forget when you think about it. And I really do hope that she becomes, you know, a character that we see throughout the entirety of the story. I don't want her to just be part of this arc and then she's gone. I want, even after her trauma is healed, I want her to be a really significant character in the story, along with Mirio Togata. I mean, I think everybody would want Mirio Togata along with Eri to be, you know, a really big part of the story, especially given that Eri is indirectly the cause of Togata losing his quirk and becoming quirkless for the time being, until she can control her quirk and fix his quirk back. Assuming that ever happens, we don't really know. I mean, it's said that if she can control her quirk, it's going to be the case, but is it going to happen? I don't know. Nobody knows, apart from Horikoshi probably. One thing that I really don't want to be the case with Eri's character once her trauma is, you know, dealt with, and once her character is where it should be, you know, once she is fully established in a normal society, when she has a foster family probably, you know, all of that kind of shit. When that happens, I don't really want her to become a hero. I'm just gonna say that right now. I do not want her to become a hero, and the reason is because of her quirk. Her quirk is extremely broken, and they even said that her quirk is extremely difficult to control. And when you look back at Togata, his quirk was hard to control, but I think when you look back at Eri's case, her case is a lot different, because if she fucks up, it could fuck someone else's life up, because if she touches someone and her quirk accidentally activates and it just reduces that person to a fetus, I mean, she's effectively killed that person, which means, you know, I don't really see how she would control her quirk in becoming a hero, because just one mistake and your quirk could be killing people, even if that's not your intention. But if we assume that she has a really easy time controlling her quirk when she gets older, then I probably wouldn't mind her becoming a hero, but then I really want that quirk control to be handled really well. Like, it's gonna be to the point where she has absolute control over it. It's not gonna be any risks, because if there's any risks, she'll, like, you know, try to save someone and in the process she's just gonna kill them instead. Then I think it would be in her best interest, and she would probably think this herself as well, looking back at how her life was when she was a child, that maybe I shouldn't risk helping people because I could just be making things even worse. Even though she may have the greatest of intentions, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should always go for that. One thing I forgot to mention when I talked about Night Eye was that she doesn't actually know that Night Eye died from this incident with Overhaul, you know, them trying to save Eri. So whenever she finds out that Night Eye actually died, which could be at some, I mean, it's gonna be at some point in the future, they can't really hide it forever, that is going to create some kind of backlash, I guess you could say. Let's assume she's progressed her trauma to some extent, and then eventually she finds out that Night Eye did actually die from this point because they've been hiding it from her. She may question, you know, why did they keep this from me? I deserve to know this. and then obviously that's gonna cause her to take a few steps backwards instead of just going forwards, and that just goes to show you that the trauma that she may be getting is gonna be even greater than anything we've seen, at least recently, in any shonen. And that actually fascinates me a lot. Like, I would love to see, you know, her trauma being built up, then it goes backwards a bit because something goes wrong, and then she has to climb back up again. That is simply how I think trauma should be handled, and going by what happened in this chapter when they said that they were gonna keep it from Eri, and even though she's gonna find out eventually, it really does feel like she's gonna find out and it's really gonna create some kind of negative impact. Like, she's definitely gonna have to take a few steps backwards and then climb back up where she actually left off and then continue forward. It's gonna be, you know, a roller coaster of up and downs when it comes to her recovering from all of the things that she's been through in her life. Anyway, I think that's gonna be all for today. I just wanted to give my thoughts on, you know, what I think about the writing of Eri's trauma by Horikoshi, because it is just incredible. I think even Chibi Reviews mentioned that this trauma was exceptionally well written, which just goes to show you that even more people than me, like, that actually reviews the series, do find this to be something huge when it comes to Horikoshi's writing. But yeah, with that said, I think I'll end the video, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about Eri's trauma. You know, do you think it's really well written? Do you also like Eri as a character? Like I said, she's definitely within my top 10 characters in the story of My Hero Academia. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I will see you next time.